Hi folks, and welcome back to my channel. I am so glad you decided to join us. Today we are talking about a slightly different topic, and it might be one that's a little bit confusing. It is how to react according to the Spirit. You know, we are told that we need to walk according to the Spirit. We need to live according to the Spirit. In other words, we need to flow in the Holy Spirit, and we need to take our cue from the Holy Spirit. But if we are just the only people, that's a little bit easier. You see, I sometimes think if it's just me on my own and I'm not interacting with other people and I'm not having conversations with other people, then there's honestly nobody who's going to trigger me. There's nobody who's going to say something, do something, mention something, behave in a particular way that is going to get my blood boiling. What about you? I think that if we were in church alone, it would be the perfect church. There would be no other people to suggest the music is too loud, the music is too soft. We would have it just perfectly as it is. But it is in this interaction with other people, it's in the to and fro of rubbing shoulders with other people that we suddenly find ourselves reacting to them. You know, yesterday on Twitter, I saw a really, really interesting tweet, and it said this: do not allow other people's sin to cause you to sin. Now, I don't know if you want to just think about that one for a second, but it really stopped me in my tracks. Do not let someone else's sin cause you to sin. So I started thinking about that, and I thought, are we able to cause other people to sin? And in the same way, do other people sometimes, when they sin, cause me to sin? And so I thought, let's just unpack this topic just for a few seconds. So, fruit is one of these things that grows slowly. When you plant a fruit tree, you don't plant it today, wake up tomorrow and go and look for fruit. You'll be disappointed, right? Because fruit does not grow in an instant. It takes time. Fruit takes time. And so it is with the fruit of the Spirit. When we come to Christ, we sometimes are very zealous and we are so enthusiastic and we are following Jesus with all our hearts. Our hearts are aflame for Him. But it takes a while for the fruit of the Spirit to start to kick in. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, long-suffering, etc., faithfulness. You know, all of the fruit in the Spirit that you want to read in Galatians chapter 6. It takes time. And so what happens is when we come across other people, if we haven't developed the fruit of the Spirit, patience, long-suffering in us, we can have an instant reaction. It can be like pouring fire onto oil. It just sparks something. So Jesus talks about how people can cause others to sin. So in Mark chapter 9, verse 42, Jesus talks to His disciples, and he talks about causing one of these little ones to sin. So Jesus, He's got these young children with Him, and He says, if anyone causes these little ones to sin, and then He goes on to lay out some serious consequences. Jesus is saying, you know what, we who are wiser need to nurture younger people. We need to watch ourselves, that we behave, that we model behavior in such a way that the younger ones don't sin or don't find themselves falling into sin. That's why Paul says, imitate me, even as I imitate Christ. What a great testimony. Can you say that to other people? Imitate me. I want you to follow me, model my behavior, even as I'm trying to follow Christ. Well, that is a great place to be if you can do that. There are a couple of other places where Jesus talks about us causing one another to stumble. So let's get into some specifics here. You know, I don't know what it is that triggers you, but sometimes it can be just a person's smug attitude. Maybe you walk into a shop and you get really bad service. Maybe it's the traffic. Maybe you're driving in the traffic and somebody cuts you off, and in that moment of him being really rude or her being really rude and they cut you off, in that moment your behavior the fruit of the Spirit goes out the window, and what's left reacts in a particularly bad way. And that happens in traffic. Maybe it's when somebody is rude to you. You walk into a shop and the assistant is really rude, and that just gets your blood boiling. The thing is, how do we respond in such a way that we do not sin? So their rudeness, their attitude, whatever it is, somebody comes and they want to share gossip with you. And gossip is sinful. The Bible teaches us that. What we don't want to do is then fall into sin ourselves and start to pass on that gossip. In Matthew chapter 18, verses 20 to 25, Jesus speaks about how we must deal with someone who sins directly against us. Now, people sometimes take this out of context. It says if someone has sinned against you, then you go to them and address them. And if you can win them over, then you have won them over for Christ. However, if they don't want to listen, then go and get 2 or 3 witnesses who will come with you. And if they still don't want to listen, then go to the church elders, and then you escalate and you escalate. And sometimes people take this as an opportunity or as license to now want to start pointing out the sin in everyone else. That is not what it is. It's if someone has sinned against you, that is a direct sin against you. That's the pattern that we can follow biblically to deal with that issue. But we are not called to point out sin in one another. Let me tell you, if you start to go around, just try that, go around pointing sin out in other people, you will get it straight back at you so fast, because you know what? Our flesh reacts. We don't like to be put in the spotlight. We don't like it when people point out where we are falling down. And the way that we overcome this is to have a renewal of our minds. We need to renew our minds, and we need to learn biblical principles. Be slow to speak, quick to listen. Listen to what people are saying, and sometimes you feel your temperature, you feel your blood starting to boil. That is the time when the fruit of the Spirit kicks in, so that we are able to have temperance, and we are able to just calmly answer in a peaceful, joyful way, so that we do not ourselves fall into sin. That is what a believer who is experiencing the mature fruit of the Spirit is able to do. So we just need to consider how the devil wants to get at us. He is constantly wanting to deceive us. And one of the ways that Satan attacks us is through us reacting to other people. Folks, we want to learn to react according to the Spirit. We want to do what Jesus did. Jesus said, you know what? I only say what I hear the Father say. I only do what I see the Father do. And we need to take that example. That is an example that I try constantly to just think about and to try to model and to say, don't rise to the bait. Don't rise to the deception that Satan is wanting to cause us into. He's wanting us to get into the flesh, and we need to stay in the Spirit. And so I hope that this is just going to spark some thought in your mind. Look out for those triggers. Renew your mind. Constantly be on guard so that you can feel yourself getting into that zone. And when you do, just take a moment, pause and pray that God will help you, that the Holy Spirit will step in so that you can give off the fruit of the Spirit. And remember, the fruit is always there for someone else. Someone else gets to benefit when you're able to model patience and joy and peace when they expect you to behave some other way. That's theirs to enjoy. The fruit is not for the tree. The fruit is for the people who are going to enjoy the fruit of the tree. But that's what God develops in us. So I'm praying for you, and I pray that the Lord bless you. Come back, get another talk soon. Please subscribe. Hit the notifications bell so that you get notified of when new videos are posted. usually once a week, and may the Lord bless you. May His face shine upon you, and may He give you peace. See you next time. Bless you, my brothers and sisters.